With me today is Marlia Finch, and I'll let you present yourself.
Oh, hi, I'm Marlia Finch. I am the Assistant Director at the Tennessee Department of Education, and we'll be talking about all things school nutrition today.
Next slide. You can go past this one. So today we're just going to go through introductions. Marlia is going to be leading most of this call since she is the expert. We're going to frame a little bit of some child nutrition and child hunger data, and then hear a school nutrition overview, and then leave you with some next steps. And then next slide. So TJC, the Tennessee Justice Center, has been standing with vulnerable Tennessee families and helping them access basic necessities of life, including individual casework, leveraging our knowledge, and moving systems. Next slide. If you need any help with any of these things, TJC program assistance, we help out with SNAP, WIC, Summary BT, and TennCare. And our specific anti-hunger team, which I am part of, we work to end hunger in Tennessee by protecting and strengthening the federal nutrition programs, including SNAP, WIC, and then child nutrition programs, which is what we're going to be talking about today. Next slide. All right, so just some data to get us started. Hunger impacts all Tennesseans. 1 in 6 people currently face hunger in Tennessee, and 1 in 5 children currently face hunger in Tennessee. School meals are proven to reduce child hunger. Over 300,000 Tennessee kids are currently food insecure. Providing school meals for all improves food security among all students and their families, and school meals ensure students are hunger-free and ready to learn. This is some school meals participation data in Tennessee. For the 2023-2024 school year, over 430,000 Tennessee kids received free lunch. 22,000 kids received reduced price lunch, and over 180,000 kids received a paid lunch, which is pretty substantial. And then we'll go ahead and let Marlia share. You can stop sharing. Perfect.
All right, bear with me. I'm not a Zoom girl. We work with teams a lot. So if there's anything you can't see, please let me know and I will adjust accordingly. All right, can everyone hear me and see my screen first off? All right, I see thumbs up. Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you for having me first off here this afternoon on this platform. I don't think we've ever really made this partnership and connection in the past since I've been here, and I've been here about 8.5 years at this point. So I'm very excited to educate and bring to you a general school nutrition overview. We will be talking about high level umbrellas of the school nutrition program, just so you can get a better understanding of what the backside of operations looks like at the school district level. So like I said before, I am Marlia Finch. I am the Assistant Director for the School Nutrition Program in the Tennessee Department of Education. We are housed under the Coordinated School Health Division. So yeah, if you ever need me, just reach out and I'm happy to give you information. All right, so without further ado, let's hop on in and learn a little bit more about school nutrition today. Maybe. There it goes. All right, so today I will brief you guys on an overview of school nutrition programs and what all is considered a school nutrition program, the benefits and impact of school nutrition, what district level operations may look like, and what community partnerships can look like from a partner standpoint. All right. So the Tennessee School Nutrition Program, we are responsible for providing nutritious meals and snacks for students in public and non-public schools, as well as residential and childcare institutions. The school nutrition program administers the USDA's National School Lunch Program, breakfast program, after-school snack program, special milk program, and the seamless summer option across the state. I will give you the caveat that the Tennessee Department of Education, we operate SSO, as you may know and refer to the seamless summer option as. So that is one summer feeding program, while the Tennessee Department of Human Services, they operate and administer SFSP. So there are two different summer feeding programs, and SSO, or the seamless summer option, is housed under the Tennessee Department of Education. All right, and then we also, all public schools in Tennessee are on the National School Lunch Program, which provides nutritiously balanced and low cost or free lunches to children each school day. Okay, so here at the department, our mission statement for the school nutrition program is to cultivate a culture of integrity, knowledge, and collaboration by empowering school nutrition professionals to serve nutritious meals, fuel student success, and build thriving communities. So what does all that actually mean? Well, we've divided it into three main buckets. So this first bucket, nourishing meals. So the school nutrition program provides nutrient-rich meals that meet federal nutrition guidelines for specific age groups. And then also, along the same vein, research has shown that the National School Lunch and Breakfast Program play a critical role in supporting academic achievement and combating childhood hunger and obesity. Okay, and our second bucket that we like to refer to as community partnerships. So programs across the state, they partner with local farmers, growers, different vendors, and different businesses to really cultivate that community partnership and to help improve their programs. And these partnerships enable opportunities to feed the children first and foremost, and then educate them on locally grown foods, stimulate the local economy, and create jobs within the community. And our third big bucket that we like to talk about is that school nutrition, they are caring experts, and they are experts within the profession. So with school nutrition, we have experts in food safety, culinary arts, and general nutrition. Many of our school districts have professional registered dietitians on staff and or chefs. We're seeing a lot more chefs here lately within school districts, so that is extremely exciting as school nutrition is taking off. Okay, so now we've talked about our mission statement and our three main priority buckets. And let's dig into overviews of the different school nutrition programs. Okay, so the most common and most known popular program under the National School Lunch Program umbrella is the National School Lunch Program. So NSLP provides nutritionally balanced, low cost or no cost lunches to over 29 million children across the nation each day. And the Food and Nutrition Services of the United States Department of Agriculture administers that program at the federal level. So we are housed under FNS, or Food and Nutrition Services. So USDA FNS is who is housing and administering the program at the federal level. At the state level, hello, we're the Tennessee Department of Education. We're the ones that administer it at the state level. And simply, we are the entity that's holding agreements with each of our school food authorities. And schools participating in the NSLP they receive cash subsidies and USDA foods for each meal served. So those reimbursements, that's how programs are operating at the local level. Other general programs that operate under the National School Lunch Program umbrella include the School Breakfast Program, After School Snacks, SSO, or the Seamless Summer Option, the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program, and Special Milk Program. And we will dive into more details about each of those programs in a moment. And since I'm not that great with Zoom, I will link all of the fact sheets in the chat after I present. But you will have access to all the links as you get access to the presentation after. All right, so starting with the National School Breakfast Program. So it is a federally assisted meal program that provides students with a nutritious breakfast at low or no cost. Very similar to the National School Lunch Program, the meals served must meet federal nutrition standards, including whole grains, fruits, and low-fat dairy. Approximately 14 million students across the country are served breakfast daily. And again, the fact sheet I will link as soon as I wrap up my presentation, so you have that readily accessible if you would like to dive into more details about the school breakfast program. And I know you're curious, why is there such a discrepancy between participation in breakfast and in lunch? Well, for the state of Tennessee specifically, the National School Lunch Program is required for all public schools, whereas the school breakfast program is not a requirement. So I just wanted to show you why those numbers may be different. Most schools do operate breakfast, but it is not a requirement like lunch is. All right, moving right along to after-school snacks. So the after-school snack program provides healthy snacks to children participating in the after-school programs. So again, there are different snack programs. We are the after-school snack program. And it's a reimbursement program just like lunch and breakfast, and eligible programs must include organized, regularly scheduled activities with an educational or enrichment piece. So that could be tutoring, arts or sports, what have you, on site to operate the after-school snack program. And again, since this is a federal program, snacks must meet federal nutrition guidelines, ensuring that they provide a balanced mix of food groups such as fruits, vegetables, grains, and dairy. And we'll link that FAQ for you shortly. All right, fantastic. I'm just making sure. Oh, Chris, thank you so much. You're already on it with those links. Fantastic. I was making sure there weren't any questions yet. All right, talking about the Seamless Summer Option, the SSO program is ensuring children have access to nutritious meals during summer or during extended breaks when school is out of session. Schools participating in NSLP or the school breakfast program are eligible to apply for the program. So again, you must operate the National School Lunch Program in order to operate the Seamless Summer Option. Meals may be served at school or other eligible non-school sites approved by the state. So there is an application process with SSO sites, and typically those not being served at schools, those other approved sites have at least 50% of the children in the community are eligible for free and reduced price meals. So an area eligible site is typically what we see for those non-school sites for SSO. And there is the SSO USDA site, the link for you in case you need more information. And I will say, Seamless Summer Option in the state of Tennessee, it wasn't the primary summer feeding program for a long time. However, thanks to COVID, there is a silver lining with COVID and the pandemic. Seamless summer really skyrocketed across the state. So we see many school districts operating SSO now, compared to what it has been historically. So there was one good thing that came from the pandemic when it comes to feeding kiddos. Really, our school nutrition professionals stepped up to the plate in the biggest way possible during the pandemic and serving meals to students over the school year, over summer, through the SSO program. So that's really exciting. Okay, so the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program is a program under the National School Lunch umbrella. So FFVP, it provides fresh fruits and vegetables to students in participating elementary schools. So with that, this is a competitive application process where the goal of the program is to introduce children to fresh fruits and vegetables, including new and different varieties, to help increase overall acceptance and consumption of fresh and unprocessed produce among children. So in order for a school site to be eligible for FFVP or to apply for FFVP, they must already operate the National School Lunch Program and complete the annual application. And then priority is given to those with the highest percent of children eligible for free and reduced meals. So essentially, the USDA will allocate the state's money, one total amount per year, and then we are responsible for getting those monies out to eligible elementary schools. And I can confidently say this year we were able to award approximately 240 school sites and impacting close to 100,000 kiddos through those that applied for FFVP program and were awarded this year. So it's a small but mighty program that often gets overlooked. And there is a fact sheet to go with FFVP and all the fun things. There's a handbook on the website as well if you are really interested as to what goes into the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program. Okay, and then the last program that we kind of administer and oversee from the Tennessee Department of Education is the Special Milk Program. And this program provides milk to children in schools and childcare institutions who do not participate in other federal meal service programs. And this program is set up just like most other federal programs, so it is reimbursement based. So the schools get reimbursed for the milk that they serve to eligible children. So you're asking, okay, they're already operating the National School Lunch Program or breakfast program. How could a school operate the special milk program? Well, a school could also operate the special milk program if they do already participate in the National School Lunch Program or breakfast, but they may have like a half-day pre-K or different kindergarten programs that aren't included in the actual school enrollment. So if there are any special programming going on, they may be eligible to operate the special milk program. Currently, we only have a handful of programs that operate the special milk program. It's not as popular, but it is an option. Okay, so hopefully you have a broad overview of each of the different programs that fall under the National School Lunch umbrella. So now let's look and see, how do school nutrition programs actually operate? Okay. So program operations. School nutrition programs are very unique in the sense that these programs are operated like businesses with meal revenue and reimbursements covering cost. So I like to call all of the cafeterias more like restaurants because that's truly what they are. They are operating as a business. Different revenue sources may include federal reimbursements, student payments, so like those a la carte items, so ice cream, chips, whatever the snacky type items we call a la carte items, that would be considered a student payment. And then supplemental funds. And the supplemental funds may look different in different school districts, primarily catering services, any revenue collected for a catering service that a school nutrition program may have provided could be considered a supplemental fund on top of the reimbursements. So I just want to make sure that you understand these different revenue sources that school nutrition programs may see. And more students participating in meal programs, obviously it's going to help increase that overall revenue. So higher participation, the more reimbursements school districts are getting, and which really helps to improve the quality, variety, and overall operations of different school nutrition programs. If they have a higher revenue coming in, they can really use that to expand their school nutrition operations and improve their current operations. And there is a link to this lovely infographic that is on the right side of the screen. We borrowed this from the Triton School Corporation of Indiana, and it really shows a great summary as to how everything operates at the federal level. And then the state is essentially a pass-through entity, and then how the local level operates. So going over this infographic up at the federal level, obviously USDA and the United States Department of Health and Human Services review scientific studies. They update the dietary guidelines for Americans every 5 years and then recommend healthy eating patterns. And then the USDA translates those dietary guidelines into meal patterns and nutrition standards for school meal programs. So once they do all of the back research and create meal patterns, yes, Congress has to pass laws and set funding amounts for the National School Lunch Program. So those reimbursement rates every year, that's why it's not always issued at the same time, because Congress are the ones to set those numbers. So reimbursement rates, I know many of you are familiar with those and often ask about those while you're doing your own research, but that is why it's not issued every year at the same time. There are different factors that go into play and how long laws or funding take to get set each year. And then once those funding allocations and amounts are set for each state or reimbursement rates for the meals, the USDA then gives the money to states. We do not get lump sums or anything for the meals. Those are purely reimbursement, but for any operating expenses or administrative costs that the state may have, USDA will allocate each state their own money based on a variety of factors. They have a whole formula for it. And then those are our operating funds for the year. So then once the state have the USDA allocations, the states provide money to local school food authorities for the meals they serve. So school districts will then say they've served X amount of meals, either free, reduced, or paid, and they get reimbursed based off of the reimbursement rates for the meals that they have served. And then we also, a big part of the state agency's job is to train and support the local school food authorities. So our school nutrition professionals, we are constantly providing different trainings or memos or resources based off of USDA guidance that we have, or we're collaborating with different stakeholders and partners, just like I am today, to really help educate the community and the state really as to how the school nutrition programs operate and the importance of school nutrition. So yes, lots of training and local support. We do have 10 regional consultants across the state, and they are each assigned approximately 40 to, I would say 30 to 40 school food authorities across the state. So we do have a state agency staff person accessible to each school district. And that could be technical assistance, sharing best practices, all the things to really help improve these school nutrition programs. Okay, so that's the highlight, high level thinking as to how the state runs and any other grants that may be issued, like equipment grants, fresh fruit and vegetable grants. That's all funneled through us in a variety of ways. And then we ensure that school districts get those grant funds. And then at the local level, so school food authorities review the meal patterns that they're required to follow as they are administering their programs at the local level. And they have to consider their budgets, equipment that they have. Is it good equipment? Do they need new equipment? And staffing. We all know staffing has been an issue across the board, not only specifically to school nutrition, but across the board. But local districts definitely need to consider their staffing, their budgets, equipment, overall operational costs, on top of making sure that the students really enjoy the food that they are being served. So they need to consider student taste test preferences. And many districts do really try to hone in on that local food availability. So many school districts are trying to get as many local and whole food products onto that cafeteria tray as they can, as their budget allows for, as their staffing capacity allows for it. So there are a variety of factors that must be considered at the local level. And then with all of that, they create the menu and serve the kiddos. And then on top of that, we have school districts going above and beyond improving their program however they can, whether that be more nutrition education, more farm to school activities, more taste testing, all sorts of things are going on at the local level. So I really wanted to highlight this resource because it really breaks down everything in a very easy way to understand. Okay. The benefits and impact of the National School Lunch Program. As we are all here to help with food security across the state, the benefits of this program and breakfast participation as well is that it helps to reduce food insecurity. So these programs allow access to free or reduced price meals, and it helps to decrease food insecurity rates, particularly for low-income households. And then these programs also help to bridge that nutrition gap during the school year, because we know many students, the only meals that they are getting is within that school day. And these programs help to reduce higher food insecurity rates seen in the summer, operating, the Seamless Summer program or other summer programs that we've mentioned. These programs also improve dietary intake. So school meals ensure better overall diet quality, providing more fruits, vegetables, milk, and essential nutrients compared to packed lunches. Another myth that floats around often is that you might see a Pop-Tart being served for school breakfast within a school district. Well, that Pop-Tart is manufactured and formulated differently than what you can pick up at your local grocery store. So it might be a name brand Pop-Tart or whatever other breakfast item, but those school nutrition specific items, you cannot find them in retail anywhere. And all of the nutrients in those items are tailored to the school nutrition requirements. So I always like to bust that myth or whatever you want to call it to showcase that, yes, students are getting name brand items at lunch and breakfast, but those name brand items are not the same as what you find in retail since they are formulated differently. I love the comment. You knew they never tasted right. Yep, they have less fat and less sugar. But they are still pretty tasty items that you can find out there. All right, so overall, improving dietary intake, new nutrition standards positively impact food selection and consumption. So especially for those fruits and vegetables. We are in a very unique position because we get the kiddos from K-12, sometimes pre-K-12 for the National School Lunch Program. And if we are implementing programs like the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program at the elementary age, we are, influencing better habits of increasing vegetable and fruit consumption at a young age. So hopefully that will trend as a lifelong habit. So yes, the school lunch and breakfast programs, those that participate, it's improving dietary intake overall. These programs also support health and reduce obesity. So federally funded meals are linked to lower BMI and obesity rates in low-income children. And it helps to reduce poor health outcomes with significant declines in obesity and related risk for children receiving the subsidized meals. And we all know that you cannot teach a hungry child. Well, also, these programs help to enhance learning and behavior. So these meal programs address behavioral, emotional, and academic challenges to hunger. So if they're sitting there in the classroom and they haven't eaten, they're hungry, they're thinking about everything else besides learning. However, if we can fill those bellies with a school breakfast or lunch, we're helping with that hunger issue. So it's really enhancing their ability to focus on schoolwork. And then students receiving school meals are less likely to be absent, hyperactive, or face attention issues, leading to improved performance in school engagement. Okay, moving on to district level operations. So we've talked about high level items throughout the presentation so far. So moving to district level operations and why each school district seems to operate differently across the state. So each district, it's an individualized local operation. So those businesses, those restaurants that they're managing, they're all different because all districts have to follow the same federal and state guidance. However, we empower the districts to have autonomy to operate their school meal programs that best fits their student needs or their community needs. So that is why each school district may seem different. So you're asking, okay, so if they're following the same federal regulations and the same state guidance, how are they that different across the state? Well, there's a lot of factors that go into that. It may be overall school and staff involvement. So how involved are those school district personnel outside of the cafeteria? Do you have a principal that's promoting the school nutrition program? Do you have teachers that are actively encouraging kiddos to participate in these food programs? Yeah, there's just a lot of factors when it comes to overall staff involvement of programs. Also, the menu. What does the menu look like in that school district? Could it be better? Do they like to try new things? All sorts of things. Can they afford new items? Different budgets also reflect all of these factors, but the budgets really tend to hit the menu the hardest. Just trying to find the right things to purchase that are still in compliance, but also new and exciting for students to try. What does that cafeteria look like? What does that mealtime environment look like? Does it feel like they're walking into a prison cell? Does it feel like, they're in, I don't know, a food court at the mall or something? We're seeing a lot of cafeterias kind of go more towards the food court style versus go through the line, here's your table. So really embracing that mealtime environment and seeing how we can improve that helps drive to participation as well. Again, school food authorities, local districts, they may not offer all of the school programs, school meal programs that are under that National School Lunch umbrella, and that's a-okay. But again, that shows the variation across the state and at different sites, what programs are being offered, what programs outside of the school meal programs are being offered. For example, are tutoring programs or after school programs being offered in order for that school nutrition director to be able to offer an after school meal or after school snack. Again, it all works together. It's one big picture, and we're here to provide students access to food. And it really depends on which programs you're offering and who you have on board and overall staff involvement. Okay, so you have districts that are operating the National School Lunch Program. Okay, great. Are they promoting it? Are they promoting that they have a new item on the menu? Are they promoting that they have school breakfast? Do they have grab and go options? Overall marketing of the school meal programs is a big contender as to how to help improve local level or site specific operations. And then each school district is required to have a local wellness policy. How involved is that local wellness policy? Are they in compliance, having to have all the required items in the local wellness policy? But what else is in that local wellness policy? Do they allow outside food? Do they allow students to order DoorDash in the middle of lunch hours? Really honing in on the local wellness policy and lifting up the school lunch program and how beneficial it is can really help individualize those operations at the local level. And then also, how are they feeding kiddos? There are different provisional feeding types. I know you've heard of CEP. There's a second provision, all sorts of different provisional types where traditional feeding, so fill out the application, are you free, reduced, or paid, compared to community eligibility provision where kiddos are eating free. There could be mixed districts. So some sites may do applications and some sites may be eligible for CEP. Again, that is a district decision, and that is why not every school district looks the same. And budgets, big time budgets impact everything listed on this screen. All right, so how can community partners connect and collaborate with school nutrition programs a little bit more? Well, there are a lot of ways that you can do this, even if it's not directly with the cafeteria. So, fun fact about Tennessee, every single school district has a coordinated school health coordinator. We are unique across the nation in that regard, that I think we might be one of the only states with a coordinator in each school district. And if you do not know what coordinated school health is, I will send a link after I'm done and it will talk about coordinated school health. It's essentially connecting 8 different components within school districts to really elevate the student success, and touching on things like nutrition, obviously, in different capacities, and then staff wellness, physical education and activity. There are 8 different components that make up the entity of coordinated school health. So there are different elements within coordinated school health that you could partner with the district to help improve operations overall. Look into different school programs. Obviously, there are ways you can partner and collaborate with different school meal programs. There are different backpack programs to help increase the food access to kiddos beyond the school day. There are culinary arts programs that you could partner with and see how you could combat food hunger that way. Future Farmers of America, FFA, different farm to school initiatives. We have a junior chef competition that helps to highlight local produce items. Actually, we had a local meat one year, but local product across the state. You could hone in on school or district initiatives. So a lot of school districts are getting on board with the farm to school movement. Many districts are starting to see school pantries to help with getting kiddos food over the weekend. Also, different outdoor classrooms. You could factor in a nutrition education component into an outdoor classroom, or really see how the curriculum can tie into, hunger and how to combat that. There are different school or district clubs and organizations that you could tag into. So gardening clubs, 4-H clubs, writing clubs. These writing clubs could help educate students and teachers on how to write grants to possibly get money to help support different initiatives and programs that they want to work on. All right, I know I just dumped a whole lot of information onto you, but our key takeaways today is to really just build that general school nutrition knowledge that you might have already, but let's strengthen that and educate the community. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask questions, do not make assumptions, especially what we may see on social media when it comes to school nutrition. Don't make assumptions. There's always 2 sides to the story of that one picture that might get posted and spread around. So ask those questions, don't make assumptions. Make sure you're reaching out to the right people to ask the right questions. It helps stay engaged, reach out and get involved, whether that be with community organizations or different school districts to really help empower school nutrition. And then again, promote and encourage participation. That is the main way school districts can help improve their programs, is participation. And then use creativity to grow and strengthen school connections. So get creative if you want to get involved with the school district. If you want to, do those free libraries that are popping up and put nutrition education material in there, or you want to teach kids about food security, that might be a good way to do that. But yes, if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to take questions. If not, thank you so much for having me this afternoon. Here is my contact information. Please reach out if you feel the need to ask any questions.
Thank you so much, Marlia. I will quickly wrap it up. Just thank you again. That was a fantastic presentation. I know that I learned a lot, even in the midst of some technical difficulties. But with all of that information being said, how can you support school meals? The biggest thing that we ask from y'all to take away from this call is to look into the Healthy Meals, Healthy Kids Coalition. Next slide, Chris. The Healthy Meals, Healthy Kids is an advocacy group with a variety of partners centered around a shared interest in bringing healthy meals to all children in all schools in Tennessee. These are some of our partners. Next slide. If you are interested in school nutrition, which I imagine you are if you're joining this call, you should join us for our monthly workshop groups where we talked about strategy, best practices, and learning from community partners all across the state. Next slide. All right, and then we can go ahead and go to the end, Chris, just to wrap it up. All right. And if you need anything from us, this is our contact information. You'll be receiving a follow-up from me shortly with all of these slides, all of the links, and everything that we talked about. But other than that, thank you all so much for being here. And thank you again, Marlia, for that wonderful presentation. We really appreciate it. With that, everyone have a good day. Bye.